are now joining Children of the Watch.
That's right. It's the #1 after show for all things Star Wars television. I'm your host, Alex Maxwell, and joining me, as always, is
Mac Lacey. Here we are. It is the part 4 Hello There Hotline episode where we hear your calls, hear your thoughts, theories, speculation, all of that. And we can't wait. This is, some of our favorite stuff to do, hearing from y'all. And I hope you love it as much as we do.
This is so much fun. And I'm going to be honest with you, kind of going into this Hello There Hotline episode, I thought there might not be as many theories as there was on the last episode that we did for the Hello There Hotline. There's still just as many theories. And actually, there's some really fantastic theories that I can't wait for everyone to hear and for us to discuss, because it gets pretty deep. We're gonna be, of course, talking about the tomb, but also like where could the show be going? Where could everything end up, especially in part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi? We only have 2 weeks left, 2 episodes left. This is it, and I think
this whole season has been a whirlwind.
It really
just
has.
being 6 episodes and getting the first 2 on the first week. Or we really got the first 3 episodes in the first week of the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been crazy.
It has been crazy, and it's been so much fun. And so like, let's really, as we go into these last 2 episodes, let's just have fun. Let's look for things to really enjoy about Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I can't wait to theorize. But before we do that, let's jump into the business a little bit. You can follow us on Twitter at COTWatch and Instagram at COTWatch to continue the conversation over there. And then if you like these episodes, if you like the Hello There Hotline episodes, maybe you want some more commentary tracks from us, you might have heard our Phantom Menace commentary. We did one for all the prequel movies and every episode of The Mandalorian, plus some more stuff as well on our Patreon, patreon.com/The Mandalorian Watch. Just $2 a month to gain access to all that and more. And if maybe you called in your voicemail, there's a chance that it could be on the bonus Hello There Hotline episode as well. But maybe you can't support us that way. That's totally fine. I get it. Times are tough right now. A great way you can help support us is by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast and giving us a sweet 5-star review. That goes such a long way in helping us out, the algorithm, all that, and just letting people know who might come across our podcast how much you enjoy the show. So that would be super, super helpful. And then, of course, you can get there our Hello There shirt, which is on keepthewatch.com. You can find some other cool merch as well. You can use code Hello There, all capital letters, for free shipping in the US. I think that does it for the business.
One more little business item.
Let's get it.
Just a little reminder. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, we've got a contest going on right now. So if you decode the secret Arabesh message hidden in each episode, email the answers to mandalorianwatch@gmail.com.
Yep.
You'll be entered into a drawing for a Hello There t-shirt, as well as a mystery gift from one of the Obi Wednesday drops. So yeah.
Super cool.
I think now we're done with the business and we can roll into the first voicemail.
Yeah. Before we do, did you come up with a title for part 4 yet?
So I actually did not, but we did receive a YouTube comment with some possible titles. So Jansen Baker on the YouTube channel suggested part 1, Fear.
Okay.
Part 2, Dread. Part 3, Suffering. Part 4, Rescue. Part 5, Calm. And part 6, Confrontation. There's question marks at the end of the last 2 items just because we haven't actually seen the episodes yet.
Yeah.
But and I liked those. I liked the one-word titles.
You like the one word?
I might, probably what I'll do, and I haven't done the homework on this, but take parts of the Sith code, like from KOTOR and stuff, and do those as one-word titles for the first half, and then take words for the Jedi code and have them on the back half. So it's like,
So like
a
a slash
light
in
side
between? Okay.
going into dark
That's
side,
cool.
or a dark side going into light side thing
Yeah.
as the show progresses.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right,
So
let's do
thanks,
our
Jansen.
Yes, thank you. Let's do our first voicemail.
Hey, Mac and Alex, this is Steve from New York. Calling in, love the show. I'll try to keep it short. I have a question for you guys and then kind of a prediction. So for the question, it seems like, Disney has really found this formula with a, adult protagonist who, somehow is looking after or has to have a kid tagging along with them. We saw this obviously with Din and Grogu, then again with Omega and the Bad Batch, and now unexpectedly we saw it with, Obi-Wan and Leia, at least for the first half of the show, and I think their dynamic has just been like such a joy to watch. So my question for you guys, if you, I unfortunately don't have any recommendations here, but what's another odd couple, adult child pairing that you think could make for a good TV show? Because it really is a great dynamic, and it just helps, push the plot in different ways. And then as far as the prediction, I really liked what somebody said on your podcast about the 6 episodes or the 4 episodes so far of Obi-Wan mirroring the Skywalker saga through 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my prediction would be episode 5 or part 5 of Obi-Wan will be when Qui-Gon shows up and Obi-Wan gets his training in with Qui-Gon in episode 5, and it's going to be intense, just how Luke had with Yoda. That's my prediction and a question for you guys. Keep it up. Love the show. And talk to you later.
Thank you, Steve. Let's start with the last part of that voicemail first, and then we'll go back and answer the question.
Yeah.
So potentially, if that theory about how each episode kind of corresponds with the episodes of Star Wars and might be mirroring it, he's kind of thinking Qui-Gon will show up in episode 5 and maybe train Obi-Wan. I think there's a great possibility of Qui-Gon showing up, but what if it's not like a Yoda type training, but it's kind of like Ben Kenobi, Force Ghost in the distance telling Obi-Wan to do something, and then maybe episode 6 is we actually get that conversation between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, Force Ghost, kind of like Return of the Jedi when Obi-Wan talks with Luke and reveals some secrets and truths and stuff that have been going on. Either way, I think it works. It's got to be soon. It's got to be in one of these 2 episodes that Qui-Gon's going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest questions I think we still have just about the show in general. Like, when's Qui-Gon showing up? I kind of figured it would be last episode, honestly, just to kind of begin the back half of Obi-Wan's arc, as he kind of becomes the Jedi we meet in A New Hope. But yeah, I think so. In Empire, I think instead of being like, you can look at it as Yoda was training with Luke and that kind of thing. You can also kind of extrapolate it to a story beat sense, in which the heroes get guidance. And then in that, regard, I think you can definitely, I can see a vision or just like a little voice in the back of Obi-Wan's head, something that, like you said, not a full like training session between the two doing physical, exercises and things like that, but more of like a guiding light type thing.
We're pretty positive Qui-Gon's going to show up at this point, right? Like, I guess there's a chance that he doesn't, but
yeah, it honestly probably depends on if they were initially actually planning to do a season 2, how much they were wanting to leave open for a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've always been under the impression they intended it to be 1 season.
They did. Yes.
Yeah.
They called it a limited series.
Right. So to me, Yeah, I mean, this has got to be where we get that question. Because if you're not going to do the Qui-Gon story in this show,
It's a
where
missed
else are you
opportunity.
going to do it?
Yeah,
know?
you're not going to do it. So, I would be disappointed. I think if there's not even like a mention of like we even hear Qui-Gon, at some point, because they've been setting it up. Like the first 2 episodes, especially, and I guess episode 3, but the first 2 really, really set up Qui-Gon showing up at some point. He's constantly calling out to Qui-Gon, asking him questions, and getting nothing in return. Now, from this latest episode, part 4, we're starting to see Obi-Wan really get back into the swing of things. He, like, at the beginning of the episode, he can barely pull something in the Force towards himself, but when he has to, when he's protecting Leia, he's holding back the whole ocean and then redirects it towards stormtroopers. So we're starting to see him open himself up really back to the Force fully. And I think he's just got a couple more steps to take before maybe actually hearing from Qui-Gon. And I think it's that forgiveness that we kind of talked about this in that breakdown, is like, I kind of feel like Obi-Wan is still really blaming himself. And I feel like the Obi-Wan that we see in episode 4, A New Hope, he's really not there that much anymore in terms of like feeling sorry for himself. He's kind of accepted things and he's ready to train Luke at that point. So I still think he's got a couple steps to take before maybe hearing from Qui-Gon fully. So we'll see if it happens next episode or not, or episode 6. But I really do think that at some point Qui-Gon's going to make an appearance, or we're going to hear him in some way, like Ben Kenobi does in A New Hope with Luke in the Death Star trench and stuff. So, okay, to the question, the odd couple pairing. And
now
I really
down to business. We've gotten that silly stuff out of the way.
I really do like this question, and I've got one popped in my mind immediately when he was asking the question. I think it's a good pairing. I'm not going to lie, and I would love the heck out of this show. It's Darth Maul and Gungi, the Wookiee Jedi from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
If Darth Maul kind of took him under his wing.
Do you think... would they be able to communicate?
I mean, Darth Maul would talk to him. I don't know if Darth Maul would understand anything he says back to him, but...
Maybe Maul, that would work okay, though, because I don't think Maul's really interested in hearing back on anything anyway.
No, he's not. He's just... like, and I can almost see the story play out in my head of like this, like he doesn't like Gungi at first. Gungi can use the Force. He's got a lightsaber. He's training him, showing him how to do things. Then eventually, by the end of the series, like he really loves Gungi. I mean, who?
The one thing in the entire galaxy that Maul has ever loved, Gungi.
Makes sense. I would love it.
Yeah.
What about you? Did you think of any?
Yeah, my pairing is Hondo and Kitster.
Oh my gosh, that's a great one.
So after Anakin gets off planet, Kitster is inspired and goes seeking a life of adventure. Gets tied in with the pirate gangs. Meets Hondo. Eventually, like becomes like Hondo's first mate, kind of, but as a kid still,
That's actually ripe for storytelling. That is so good.
Kitster up to be the galaxy's biggest like pirate lord that anyone's ever seen.
Anakin's dream in The Phantom Menace is like to visit every planet and stuff. So Kitster getting to live that out. I mean, there's actually like a legitimate, mine was a joke, but there's a legitimate story there that I feel like could actually play out. Like, and eventually, maybe even a confrontation between Darth Vader and Kitster. And Kitster has no idea who he is. Yeah. But Darth Vader knows who he is.
I think Kitster would be a very interesting... There is nothing, like, inherently different or remarkable about Kitster, really. Like, he doesn't have any Force ability. He's not...
He said wizard.
He said, that's wizard. Totally wizard. So I think he would be a great, like, everyman character for the audience to have, like, he'd be like the audience insert character to witness all this crazy stuff happening in the galaxy, right? Because he's just kind of on the sidelines doing pirate stuff. But he's like, this is crazy. Like, if he met Darth Vader, he's not someone who is used to seeing things and people like Darth Vader, you know?
Dude, that would be awesome. That would be an awesome story. You got to get someone like Taika Waititi to play an older Kitster, I feel like. To really have that fun back and forth with Hondo.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Oh my gosh. Lucasfilm, please make this. That would be incredible. I love that idea, Mac. That was really good. Good job. Yeah. You passed the test. I mean, I think mine is pretty good too, but yours is way better. Like, that's a legitimate thing there. So good job. All right. Thank you, Steve. Let's do the next voicemail.
Hi, I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller. My name is Allison, and I'm calling from Rhode Island. This past week on the show, the topic of Leia's innate ability to hide her force sensitivity, in addition to her empathy and intuition, was brought up. I had the thought this past week that what if this was the reason that Anakin didn't realize that Padme was pregnant with twins in Revenge of the Sith? It wouldn't have been something that Leia was actively doing, but just an innate ability that she had since before she was born. What do you guys think? Love the show. Bye.
Yeah, Allison, thank you so much for calling in with that.
That's good.
I think that's a great explanation, actually. And I think, so basically the premise is that there's just something about Leia, like she can naturally kind of, you know, she's got cloaking.
Dude, that's awesome though. That's such a great idea, and that's my headcanon now. That's exactly what's happened.
Yeah. It also, I mean, we've joked before, like, don't they have an ultrasound machine in Star Wars or whatever? So maybe that helps with that situation too. I don't know.
I always took it that, and we kind of talked about this on our commentary a little bit, like Padme was not visiting
doctors and
to kind of, I guess, to keep it secret, but like she had to be getting something or some sort of treatment at some point,
right?
I would hope so. Maybe right. C-3PO was her doctor.
I mean, I guess that's my thing. Like, they've got droids, and I feel like it would be easy, especially like they have medical droids and stuff. Like, the droids delivered Luke and Leia, you know? So, I feel like it'd be easy to get medical attention under the radar, because you could just, like, wipe the droid's memory or something, you know?
But I guess Padme's memory was wiped, too, about the ultrasound. She just, or the droid had there was something faulty with the droid, didn't notice the other one there.
She was using one of the Men in Black memory eraser things.
On herself.
But she had it facing the wrong way.
That stinks.
Anyway. I love that theory.
I do too. I like that one a lot. So like if maybe you're struggling with like, how does Darth Vader not know that's his daughter? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. But I mean, also in A New Hope, he didn't know that was his daughter, but also neither did George Lucas, because that's not how he wrote it when he wrote A New Hope.
I feel like we just have to keep that in mind always when talking about those kind of things.
Yeah.
He was flying by the seat of his pants, if you will.
Sure was. All right, so let's do the next voicemail. Thank you, Allison.
Hey guys, Sean here in St. Louis. Giving you guys a call because I was thinking about the tomb and the tomb with all the Jedis in it. Or I guess it's not all Jedis, but, Force-sensitive people, or as we're speculating. I wondered if, Palpatine said to Darth that he would help him try to resurrect or find a way to bring back to life Padme, and that's kind of how he started getting control of him. I'm wondering if he's still using that, and those are like, he's got Darth out there hunting for all these people and putting them in there, but really... Palpatine's really just setting up himself to figure out a way to bring himself back to life, and maybe that's how it all ties in. But that's the little room that he's got set up for all the stuff that he's trying to do to bring Padme, in quotes, back to life, but really he's working for himself. So that's it. I don't know if you guys like that or not, but I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Everything's great, as always. Really appreciate everything you guys do.
Okay, that's an interesting theory about the tomb. I kind of like that. Like maybe that's something Palpatine's kind of dangling over Darth Vader still. Of like, hey, we're gonna really find out how to get Padme back for you, but it's really not for him at all. It's for his eventual Rise of Skywalker debut.
Yeah, I really like that because I mean that was a huge part of Vader's initial motivation to pursue the dark side. You know, like that was a major part of it. So it's not like he's just going to forget about that, you know?
Right.
So even if he never intends to actually bring Padme back, that's the perfect way to keep Vader on board. And you know, not let Vader lose faith in the Sith path, you know?
Right. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, there's a lot of logic behind that thought. I kind of hope, I mean, if that is the case, I hope they say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hope we would learn something like that eventually through some sort of medium of like this is what that room was for.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed it to us for a reason.
They
right?
did.
It's not like it was just so odd how all the bodies were preserved the way that they were. It wasn't like it wasn't like a tomb. It was more like a museum almost in the sense of like, I keep going back to Jurassic Park and maybe that's because the new one is out now or something, but like it really looked like the mosquitoes in the first one that are trapped in the amber. And what did they do with that? They extracted their DNA, right? Yeah. And I feel like that was a visual cue of like, that's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah. I mean, back from the early days of Grogu, you know, this is something we were talking about. We've said it before. Cloning is hot right now.
Cloning's so hot right now.
It is in the Star Wars zeitgeist. It is in vogue.
Some might say that. Yeah.
I don't know if I can come up with another way to phrase it, but there's no two ways about it. They're doing something with this, and it's important because it's shown up in everything, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it is just something to kind of seed retroactively to explain Rise of Skywalker, I feel like that's like the least optimistic way to look at it, you know? In my opinion, it might eventually lead to that in the story, but we're focusing on it now because it's leading to something coming maybe with Thrawn or something like that.
And the reason we're making that connection is because in the first season of The Bad Batch, which came out last year, towards the end of the series, this is slight spoilers for it, but towards the end of the series...
Oh, the first season.
Of the first season. There's a facility called Mount Tantus that someone is taken to, and then we see some Mando-style scientists like Dr. Pershing at this facility.
They have the Purina logo on their
yeah,
their
they do. So the connection between, like, why there's a connection to Thrawn in the original Thrawn trilogy from the expanded universe, the legend stuff, Thrawn raided a place called Mount Tantus and found cloning cylinders there to build an army again to invade the galaxy. And so, like, there is a connection to Thrawn and that name, Mount Tantus, and then they've made the overt visual connection to the Mandalorian with the way the scientists were dressed. So it's just like, it kind of feels like it's leading towards some sort of story beat in the Mando-verse, and I really hope that's the case because... Yeah. It's like, man, even these shows like this and maybe even Andor in some way are setting something up in the Mandalorian stuff that we're going to see in that big crossover event that I assume that's when Thrawn is going to be making his move.
Yeah.
And it's just cool because that's like a very Marvel style way to do Star Wars. And I think that's a really good idea of like everything's building toward this one thing.
Yeah, and I think it particularly works because we have the whole canon, everything's connected model of storytelling already.
Yeah.
This is like finally making that feel real. The fact
Yeah.
that we're getting leads for other stuff in everything that's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much for your voicemail. Let's do the next one.
Hi, this is Caitlin from California. I've been listening during this season. I started listening to you guys because of Obi-Wan, and I've gone back and done the archives, and it's a great show. I really love it. So I thought this episode was really good, like you guys said, and my little thing was about a second season of Obi-Wan. I think it would work, but only if it was something like not involved in this current storyline. Like, I think it was Max who said that he thought maybe they could explain the rapid aging of Obi-Wan, like if he found the world between the worlds, so they could do that for a second season. Like, if he went off and had an adventure in the world between the worlds and then came back and he was all old, that would work. But other than that, I don't think the current storyline, they couldn't really do it again. So that's it. I love the show. Keep it up, guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Okay, so this is kind of where my hesitation when we talked about it on the breakdown kind of was, in the sense of I'm worried if they are going to do a second season, and that's something they're planning, they're making changes to this season while it's still airing. Seems like a bad idea to me.
Just a way that you get some maybe too hastily made decisions.
Yeah, in like... So, like, that was part of the report. I mean, is that they were making changes to the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that worries me, because then it's like, ooh, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it if they purposefully made the finale of this season almost like a choose your own adventure book, where they made 2 episodes, and depending on how everybody reacted and was enjoying the show and everything like that, they decided to air one or the other. I think that would be one thing, but I don't... everything we've heard does not feel like that's the case. It feels like, oh, everybody's really talking and liking Obi-Wan, maybe we should just do a second season,
Yeah. And then I would agree with Caitlin, like it probably needs to be a different type of storyline.
Yeah.
Something else that he's exploring or doing, if that's the case.
Do you think... Okay, here we go. Do you think maybe they did decide to do a second season and intentionally cut some Qui-Gon stuff from this episode, from part 4? We remarked how the kind of the return to fighting form with the Force, was maybe a little quick. What if it initially was not? But we are saving all the Qui-Gon stuff for a second season. So first season is Leia. That his adventures and meeting Leia and everything like that opens himself up back to the Force, and then he's able to finally contact Qui-Gon in season 2, and we delve more into like the metaphysical side of that.
I would be totally cool with that.
Yeah.
In the sense of, especially if like a second season followed a very similar storyline as the Kenobi novel by John Jackson Miller, where like he's really just placed on Tatooine the whole time.
Yeah.
He's dealing with local problems there, but he's also like dealing with Force and grief stuff there. Yeah. I feel like okay, that would be a good second season where we are dealing with Qui-Gon and the Force, the metaphysical stuff, but there's also like a local problem on Tatooine that him and Owen have to team up and do, or something like that. I would be down for a second season like that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the only ways I want a second season to happen. Like if they go that route, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Even though I would rather them have I would rather everything be planned out in advance and, proceed just as intended, because I think that's when you can, put the most time and effort into storytelling and everything like that. But I also know that it's a business, and they have, concerns on that front as well that maybe require them to do this kind of thing. But
I still don't know if I completely believe the report of a second season though. Anyway, like part of me feels like it is just kind of this thing that like this almost kind of like bravado that they want to put out into the world of like, we're super confident in what we're doing right now. And like to say like, oh no, there's not going to be a second season, like almost gives ammo to people who are saying that it's not good and people shouldn't watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do disagree with that a little bit though, because I think they could just say no. Like if people were like, "Oh, you're not making a second season? Do you not believe in it?" It's like, no, we actually just believe more in the story that we set out to tell.
True,
and that's why we're doing it as we intended, because
I do like
what
that.
we intended is better. You know,
that would be a very strong statement, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's good."
So I feel like if they were just trying to kind of like mitigate the haters, if you will. I think there's a better way to do it.
That's good. I do like that.
So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's all speculation. We don't work at Lucasfilm, so we don't know.
If there is going to be a second season, it's going to be a while before it happens.
For sure, and that's probably for the best. If you're gonna, I feel like the moment you do a second season, a lot of the cinematic nature, the singularity of this show, like how it's felt, I think you do lose some of that.
Yeah,
but you can retain more of it if you push the second season way out.
Right, and that's part of what I think I was trying to say on the breakdown is like this show doesn't feel like a show. It feels like a long movie that's split up, and we're watching kind of like different parts of the movie at a time. That's what it feels like. It's not very episodic in nature in the sense of like The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett. This really does feel like one big movie. And so that's maybe why a second season, like it does kind of change things a little bit if it comes out pretty quickly. So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thanks so much for the call.
Voicemail. Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, this is Mark from Fort Worth, and I like what y'all were saying about Dr. Pershing being involved, especially after that scene with all the Jedi or Force-sensitive people in the tombs, kind of looking like that mosquito from Jurassic Park. So I think there's definitely something there with cloning and DNA and Thrawn. I'm sure we'll see that pick back up on the next Bad Batch season. And I also wanted to say I hope we actually get to see Hayden Christensen in the show. I don't think that little desert mirage vision counts. They said he's in the show, and he's completely covered up in the Darth Vader costume, and he's being dubbed over by James Earl Jones. So hopefully we get to still see something, whether in a flashback, and I don't think there's time for that now, but maybe in the next duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, he gets a good shot on his mask and it's cracked, kind of similar to that really great Rebels episode, and that's how we finally get to see Hayden. So still hoping to see that. Thanks. Bye.
Cool. Thanks, Mark, for your call. I agree. It would be really cool to see a flashback to the Clone Wars, and I still think that's on the table. I still feel like there's enough time to do something like that, because I don't think it would take up a lot of time to do that.
Especially because we're already, and the world in general is already so aware of their past relationship. I don't think you have to do a lot of you don't have to provide a lot of extra context for that flashback.
No.
But yeah.
I do like the idea of maybe battle damaged Vader though. I think that would be cool.
Yeah. I could. I mean, that's very likely. I love that because it points to a great fight happening, and then B, just because you do get to see Hayden and see him in action a little more. When Mark started talking about that, I immediately went to that Rebels episode even before he mentioned it. But I think another way that could happen is if if Vader was caught off guard at some point, and he was like in the bacta tank when
Kenobi shows
Obi-Wan
up.
managed to, find him or break into the castle.
Oh man,
or however
like
they're
trapped
gonna meet.
at that point. Like, what does he do? That's interesting.
I mean, I would love to see Vader have to like
I like
protect
that.
himself from that situation, because I'm
In
sure
the
he
Force.
could.
Yeah. That would be cool.
don't
But
know.
also, like, man, how like what Obi-Wan to see like what he fully did to Anakin. Like this is what you did to me, and like he truly sees like, wow, he is more machine now than man. Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that a lot.
The story would have to do a lot of very specific things to set that up as a possibility,
Yeah.
But that's just the other way that I could think of seeing Hayden as Vader in this show, not as Anakin.
Oh, I just had an idea.
I saw the light bulb above your head.
This would be tough. This is probably the least likely, but what if like Obi-Wan had a vision of what life could have been like had Anakin not fallen to the dark side, and we see Anakin with Leia and Luke and stuff. Ooh,
man.
Ooh, that would be tough.
Be brutal.
That would be tough. But also like in the
also want
multiverse
that.
somewhere, like that did happen. You know what I mean? Like that would be cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll see that in some way.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Thanks for your call. That was good. That was good.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Hello, my name is Devin Chika, and I'm calling in from Wisconsin. I would just like to talk about my thoughts and my theories on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. First, I absolutely love the show and what you're doing with it. I have been listening ever since the first season of The Mandalorian came out, and I have loved the show ever since. Now, my theory on Obi-Wan Kenobi is that they are keeping those bodies in the embers so they can take the midichlorians from their body. I don't even know if you can do that, but if you can, sure. They're taking those and they're transferring them into their Palpatine's own little clone army, which is force sensitive. I don't know. Seems a bit far-fetched, but anything can happen in Star Wars. Bye.
Devin.
Devin. I don't think that's far fetched at all.
No.
I think we have we've talked about things similar, and there's kind of a precedent for that in the EU, right?
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Like they're taking the midichlorians out, so like maybe there is a little bit of life still left in these bodies, and that's why they're in amber, and like they're taking it out and injecting it into like blank clone bodies to see if they can give those clone bodies the force. That actually kind of makes sense to me. But he's right. It's Star Wars. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. So why not?
There are no rules. There are a few rules, but not many.
More like guidelines than rules.
Yeah, they're more like guidelines. I started to say there was absolutely no rules, and that's not the case at all. But
yeah.
I
like that, Devin.
I like that theory, and we've always kind of, I think, as fans, wanted to see like an army of red lightsabers fight an army of green and blue lightsabers.
Dude, it'd be
and I
so
think that's
cool.
one of the more probable ways to ever see that. Is if there's some kind of cloning thing going on.
I mean, I can see it now. Grogu and the Mandalorian are surrounded. Lightsabers are being ignited all around them. And then all of a sudden behind them, a green lightsaber. Two white lightsabers.
White ones, yeah.
Another green lightsaber for Ezra.
Ooh. A blue lightsaber for Leia.
Ooh. Oh, man. I like it. I like it a lot. We'll see. And then the black lightsaber because the dark saber. Yeah. Man, that would be cool. It'd be like the Power Rangers versus bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. We all want that, though. You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so just kind of last speculation, last thoughts about the tomb before we jump off here and continue this discussion over on our Patreon for the bonus Hello There Hotline episode. I still have not seen like who those people might be according to like the internet. Like the coat guy for a coat guy, nobody could really identify. The woman, a lot of people were speculating like we were, like that might be Roken's wife. There might be something there. Or even the lady with the poncho on.
It could be the teacher from the beginning.
It could be the teacher from the beginning. And so like I did see where the same kid who's in the amber, that is the same kid from the beginning of the episode. Like that is, they're credited the same towards the end in the credits.
Gotcha.
It's the same credit for the end of the first episode. So to me, that almost confirms that Reva is one of those Padawans.
Yeah, I mean that just makes good sense story-wise, I think. Particularly with just like, you know, how big of a role Reva's had to play in the series. I think if we can all tie it back to that first scene, you know, that's just good filmmaking.
Yeah.
And that gives us a good you know, idea into Reva's early life and then, you know, could talk to her motivations. In the show currently.
We'll see. I mean, I feel like we're going to be getting that backstory soon. I hope it's the next episode, honestly. And so that way the last episode can really focus on Obi-Wan and Darth Vader's fight and all that. So we'll see what happens. All these theories, all these great phone calls have got me pumped up for part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I can't wait to watch it. And then, of course, we'll be here on Wednesday to break down every single scene. So make sure you're subscribed on your podcast app of choice or on YouTube to catch out our scene-by-scene breakdown. But I think that does it for this episode. We'll continue this fun discussion over on the Patreon.
Yep.
But before we leave, I do want to give a shout-out to some Mandalore-level patrons. We're gonna start doing just a few at a time because if you watch the credits of the Mandalore patrons, it's like impossible to say all in one episode. So we'll do it every now. Like we'll continue the list.
And thank you guys so much for giving us that that issue to think about. Like it's amazing, you know, just how much y'all have supported us and means the world to us. So thank you very much.
So shout out to Terry Lee, Rick Villanueva, Bethany W., Haley Hobbs, Sam Smallwood, General Meow, Jake T., Laura McMillan, Lisa A., Sailor Chick, and Zutu. Thank you so much for being Mandalore level patrons. We appreciate you. And then we'll continue that list next time on our Hello There Hotline.
Cool. All right, well, we'll be back Wednesday for our breakdown of part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But until then, keep the watch.